Here's one for the ages. Write it down in your notebook right now. Either you use stress or stress uses you. Understand this simple fact of life. You will never get away from stress. Now, proviso here, you can change the meaning of it. You can change the word in your head and that will soften/intensify it. So instead of being stressed, you can be worried. You can be a bit peeved. You can be a bit miffed. You can just be a bit busy. You can be overwhelmed. There are a bunch of different words that you can use. Obviously, overwhelmed much more extreme. If you're just a bit busy, a little bit less than stressed. First, I highly recommend that you come up with a different word for it than stress, because the word stress is stressful. Just the word, me saying stress a lot, you're feeling stressed, aren't you? Just as soon as you say it, the adrenaline in your body's like, a goblin's coming to kill me. Cave goblin, that is. Ooh, deep cut, early friendly Geordies. But yes, so you can definitely do that. You can get rid of stress by de-stressing the word. I think you should just move it with like, don't even use overloaded. Say just, I'm a bit busy. I'm a bit busy at the moment. And I think that is one of the reasons that I don't get as stressed as other people. I think another one is that I just don't really, I'm basically just permanently an adolescent teenager. But, a lot of adult decisions are made by the people around me and I just sit there being like, this is what I think today. Yay! Like, that's it. So that's one of them. But the other thing that I think really helps with it is when you are stressed, understand that the reason you are stressed is because you think that what you're about to do is important. That's why you're stressed. If you didn't think it was important, you wouldn't be stressed. If you didn't think that you had, and this is the other thing as well, you have a bunch of things that you are perceiving to be important stacking above one another. When you write down lists, and this is why people that have serotonin, they feel very stressed when they don't have, people that are high in serotonin in their brain, they feel very stressed when they don't write lists. It's because they do understand better than most of us. It's just when you organize your thoughts, when you organize how much you can do in a day realistically and you tick it off. And even if you can't get all of it done, you tick it off and then you go, okay, I'll do the rest of it the next day. When you are able to do that, that reduces a lot of the stress that you have because there is just something in front of you saying, I am currently doing the most that I can be doing right now. Put aside the fact that you end up doing it when you do write it down. 10 to 1. 10 to 1 shot that you are going to do what you wrote down as opposed to if you don't write it down and let it just congratulate in your head. But the thing is, all of those ideas morphing into one another and you haven't actually organized them and said, this is the things that I want to attack today. These are the things that I should be focusing on. These are the things that are important to me. When you don't do them, you start falling around the wayside, don't you? Don't you? Don't you? So, don't you? So, that's one thing that I really want you to understand, yeah? That the way that you get out of that a lot of the time is to just write down lists. Another reason that you are probably stressed a lot in your life is because your emotional state isn't hitting what it normally is. When you are in the normal range of comfort of your emotions. Let's just say that normally, a lot of the time, for argument's sake, you like the idea of being content. The opposite of stressed, man. Content. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you feel a bit underwhelmed. That is going to create stress because that is not your norm. People that are stressed, when they aren't stressed, that's when they start getting stressed. You know, like type A workaholics, when they sit on a beach all day and their brain just has time to think, they start thinking, oh my God, I wasted my life. I haven't done enough. That's when they start thinking that, yeah? But people that just like to feel content and comfortable their entire lives, and then all of a sudden, you got a mail and a bill that you have to feel. I've got a bill that I have to feel. Hey, this isn't me. This isn't me at all. And then you start moving into it. That's another reason that you will be feeling stressed. But let's just go back to the one about important. Many important things are happening in your head at once. You haven't written them down. They're starting to stress you out. Here's something that I think is just good to remember, which is there is a reason that stress exists. It exists far too much in the modern world, and it exists as a result of not meditating enough, because in this day-to-day age, you are just inundated with all this information constantly, instant feedback. Everyone hates you, everyone likes you, everyone hates you, everyone likes you. That is happening in your head all the time, purely from being on the internet all the time. How do you get out of it? That's a very decent question, sir. How do you get out of feeling that state? One way to look at it is that when you are stressed because you feel that you're doing something important is a good sign. When you are permanently content for a long period of time, you start to atrophy. Stress is coming from a place of acquiring something that you don't yet have. Just having that understanding that that is the feeling of striving towards something that you, even when you're doing this with your muscles, right? What are you doing there? You are adding stress to the muscle. That's why it's coming back with more growth. If you are able to overcome that feeling, and I do it all the time actually, whenever I'm feeling bad about something, you know what I immediately do? This channel. Surprise. It's just a vent. But it's a vent because I understand that the people that are going to watch it are going to use the content to improve their lives. And so I've used it as a de-stressing mechanism. This is the whole thing. You can get a bunch of activities around your mind that are going to de-stress you when it all becomes too much. Now, I think that this one here is as helpful as it can possibly get. And thank you so much for signing up to this. But if you sign up to Jordan Shanks and helped yourself out even more, and you will be helping yourself out way more if you sign up to Jordan Shanks. Millionaires from this channel. Make sure that you sign up to it. But this is what I'm talking about. When you have a plan for what you are going to do, when you feel that level of stress, rejection, whatever the feeling is, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, and then you move into doing one of these things and you do an activity that you think is going to de-stress you, when you start feeling that emotion and you can't get out of it, when you start doing all the little mind games and it doesn't work, it's always good to have an action that de-stresses you. Classic one that most people usually have, that I think actually works really well, is ringing up a friend and just listening to them. Listening to their problems. Because as soon as you start thinking about someone else's problems, all of a sudden, the world inside here, that constant feeling of zzz, which, by the way, I don't know if you felt this, but in my guided meditations that I've done in the past, you can check them out. One of the main things that I'm always doing, and I realize that this is just from my personal experience, is I always feel and can envision where my temples are. They're always throbbing red because of how much I use my brain in my day-to-day life. Yeah, and also just because of the heavy nature of what's always just being churned. When that is dissipated, when you imagine that going out, that acts as a valve release. So, let's go back to the action plan, yeah? First off, it's just the acknowledgement, and I need you to write this down. I need you to write down that the acknowledgement is that if you're stressed, it means that you're striving for something good for you. That's the first thing. The second thing that I need you to write down is that you need an action plan for when you are too stressed. What is the thing that you can do that can instantly de-stress you? What is it? And bonus points. What's something that can help you advance? This is the hard question. And if you get this, life's sorted. Life's sorted. What is something you can do that not only de-stresses you, but helps you improve your life? There's bonus points for you. And the third thing is, I want you to think about when you are stressed, where is it? Is it in your heart? Is it in your temples, where it usually ends up for me? Is it in your forehead? That's usually another place. Sometimes it's in people's backs. Where does the stress manifest? When that does manifest, I want you to just close your eyes. Again, all we need is a minute here. Just 1 minute of your time. 1 minute, that's all I ask for. Sit there and think about it dissipating into thin air. Poof, la 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 la. I want you to think about that. I just want you to think about whatever color it is, slowly dissipating out of your body. You will be amazed at how much that de-stresses you. Anyway, if you like that, if you found it practical, and I know you did, you really should sign up to Jordan Shanks. There is so much more there for you to consume. It is an investment in yourself. It is a tiny investment in yourself. It gets huge, huge returns. Anyway, up to you. I'll see you next time.